Man alive, I have never seen it this windy, just straight winds. How's that for a bird's eye view? Wow. Think it's windy in camp? Look at this. That's all the singles. That's what I like the best. June 9th, 2025. Heading into Duncan Lake. Just a quick, easy, relaxing three-nighter going in on entry point 60. And here's the parking lot. It's down a couple of these railroad tie stairs. The weather doesn't quite know what it wants to do. On the drive up here from Duluth, man, it was really foggy next to the big lake. So now it's just load it up and let's get out and see what's going on. One portage into Duncan, and let's go campsite hunting. Bearskin Lake. I'm gonna go out here and do a little portage into Duncan. Again, the weather just can't quite make up its mind. All right, Duncan Lake. Pretty common, pretty popular. The portage is like a freeway. No obstructions, slide up and down, not a big deal. Off to get the boat. Ooh, doggies! I got the campsite I wanted. We're on Duncan Lake, and it's a campsite just south of the portage entrance. And I chose this one because it's got a lot of selection of trees to hang the Una on. I made really good time. I left Duluth at 7 this morning, and it's just about 12:30. So I was cruising, I tell you. All right, let's get camp set up. Wow, the wind switched direction. Looked like we were going to get rain there for a while, so I quickly set up the Una. And the thing I really don't like about the Una is you got to set up the tent and then you put the fly on. So I got it, you know, half-ass pitched, and so I can adjust it in case it does rain. That way the inside won't get wet. And I did set up the tarp over here, but all of a sudden it's chilly. It's really chilly, but the sun's coming back out, so that should work well. This little reprieve. Overall, nice sight. I'm pumped. Nah, I think what I should do now is I'll go ahead and make some water. Just make some water out of thin air. No, I'll filter some water. Work. What a strange weather day. When I came in, I was almost uncomfortably warm. And I was thinking about stripping down to a t-shirt. And I said, nah, let's wait till we get out in the water. And I got to the campsite, did the portage, got to the campsite. Got the campsite I liked, I wanted, I researched. And I recently had the tarp set up in this area, but the wind all of a sudden just came off the lake, huge. A lot of gusts. I had a little bit of a downpour, so I had to reorient it. So I had a little backdrop against the wind. And built it so I have a nice little porch. And I still didn't get the Una finished yet, but I'm glad I got as much as I did get done, because that way, if it clears up like it appears to be clearing up and the wind has died down and starting to warm back up again. Oh, which reminds me, I got a new thermometer I'm going to test on this trip, so I should go dig that out. But God, you know, about 45 minutes ago, you couldn't stand out on this point without being blown around. That's the beauty of the boundary waters. It's cliche, I know, but you don't like the weather? Give it a couple minutes. All right, let's see if I can't get the Una figured out. I haven't had any lunch yet. I've just been scrambling here. So I'll get that done. Maybe even wet a line if it continues to calm like this. I guess there's bass, there's northerns, there's walleyes, and there's perch in this lake. Let's get some stuff done. Good evening and welcome to the woods. Ha. June 9th, 2025. Weird weather day. Just, it changes every 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but there's my bear bag up there. Sometimes it'll be like this. Limited wind, sunny. Then all of a sudden the winds will come from the southwest. And the temperature variance feels like at least 7 to 10. So when I can, in between squalls, and it has rained a couple times, I created this little tent because the wind is blowing, as they say, from the southwest. I took a tarp and I made a little urban sprawl. Found a place to hang my packs. Like the site. Finished the Una. It ended up, due to geometrics, it ended up being a little bit higher than normal, just due to geometry of the trees. So when that happens, I put a safety strap in. So they're held on by 2 straps, not just one. What a way to sleep. And I get to wake up and look out the lake. So overall, I'm feeling a little peckish. I might have to cook dinner. But do I cook dinner under the tarp or out by the fire, where we do have wood for a fire? We do have the kindling in place. No, we do have water filtered. But we don't know what the weather's going to be like in 20 minutes. Here it looks really good. Kind of pretty. Oh, that's not promising. Ooh, we got a canoe out there. Very, very popular lake, very busy lake. And I chose this lake because there's 2 things I want to see. And it has to do with the portage. Very special portage. Oh, I love that tent. More to come on that. It's about 6 o'clock. Getting ready to have dinner. And all of a sudden, here comes again. Another squall. Another wave of high winds. So it looks like I will be dining under the tarp tonight. This is a beautiful campsite. Have I mentioned that before? I can't wait to get out and explore the lake. But I did put the Una in store mode, which is simply I tie a bungee. I tied a bungee between the two guide outs. As you can see, what happens when I add the bungee to it, it really rakes it in, and there's no way I'm getting wet. No way I'm getting wet. So I'll have to retie that. But overall, campsite's pretty well set up. I'm excited. Let me go cook some food. Welcome to dining under the tarp. This day has been consistent. Every half an hour, it's either nice or it's miserable. Let's see. What do we got up here? The temperature's dropped 3 degrees. It's raining. I got the light up. I moved it over from the Una. I'm going to use my new little table, and I'll talk about that more later. This is a cool little gadget. I do like to come out in the woods and play with toys. And tonight for dinner is Camp Chow vegan gumbo. I'll add some chicken to it, so it's no longer vegan. And some spices and a Kit Kat bar. All right, let's get cooking. But what a weird day. Oh, no bugs. June 9th. No mosquitoes, nothing. Not on the portage, not in the parking lot of the go-in, nothing. Weird. Dinner's on the boil. All right, here's an interesting thing. There's not a breath of air. There's absolutely no wind at all. I might be able to cook my dinner on this cool little table that I'll talk about. It's my first time using it, so let me get my head wrapped around it, and I'll come back at you on it. Probably in this video, so stay tuned, as I will for my chicken gumbo. Yeah. There it is. Jambalaya and a piece of naan bread. And I learned something on this trip. I really enjoy my naan bread, whether it's regular, ancient grains, but I especially love garlic. But I always struggle with, it's got a very short shelf life. So I'm always running to the store and looking around and looking at the shelf life, expiration dates. So I was up at Super One here in Duluth, or down there in Duluth. I'm in the Boundary Waters. I'm not in Duluth. And this deli lady said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to do this. I'm planning a trip to Boundary Waters." She goes, "We keep these things frozen and we bring them out and they last about a week." Really? So she goes, "Let me go into the freezer and get you a fresh pack of 4, garlic, and she did. And it's the freshest one I've ever had, the Boundary Waters. Whoa, and of course, I got that hiding over here. Weird day. absolutely weird day. This is very pleasant. End of day one. The winds are back. The temperature is dropping. Probably not going to have a fire. It's just too windy and the wind is blowing that direction. I've got my tarp in my tent there. So this day was just spent, you know, setting up camp. And it got to be too windy to go out on the lake. So we got some firewood. Really happy with this arrangement of the tarp. Dropping a corner, it's the Alps. Mountaineering. Dropping the corner and making like a little lean-to. And it really turned out nice. Because originally I had it going this direction. And it was a wind tunnel. We didn't like that. So no fire. Gonna make my tea. The Una's all ready, all hunkered down. Packs are hung. So that's about it. Just a weird first day. Weird. On to tomorrow. See this? Watch the wind move the spoon. Reminds me of one of those Japanese cats. Well, good morning from under the tarp. It was scowling wind all night long, slamming the Una. No rain, at least none that I heard. So it was sleep on and off, so I basically slept in. Got up about 9. Did some chores. Now I'm going to use my new AeroPress. First time use. Have a cup of coffee. And listen to the weather radio, figure out what we're going to do today. Because it's gloomy. More to come. Had my coffee. And did my other things I do in the morning. I did check the inReach and also checked the weather radio, and they're both in agreement that this is supposed to burn off and become sunny today. It's about 11:30 right now. But yesterday I was running back and forth between trying to be outside and enjoy it and under the tarp tent. And boy, I'm glad I rearranged that so it faces the way it faces, because there's not a breath of air underneath there. And I can cook, I can read, I can check the weather, play with toys. But I'm dying to get out in the boat. And the whole purpose of this trip is to see something that was rebuilt a couple of years ago on a portage. Oh, one of the other cool things that I'm really enjoying about the site as I hike around it is all the old growth pines and cedars. Very much reminds me of the trip I did last year down to Parent Lake and the campsite I had on the island. Huge old growth. But here it looks like there's been a lot of storms because there's been a lot of downage. And the Forest Service comes in and has to cut these things down. and they don't allow chainsaws. So they got to load in these great big hand saws to cut these things down. I mean, just look at that. Amount of downed trees. Gotta wash my feet. I don't go head over heels. But you can tell on the cut that it was not done with a chainsaw. But look at these old, noble trees. Just gorgeous. And the other bonus, this is one of the few sites I've been to that has the new upgraded throne. Square one with a lid. Fancy, no? Again, you can just tell, I mean, if you look closely here, how thin that cut is. And how smooth it is. It's not that smooth when you use a chainsaw. Really beautiful. I mean, the first branches have got to be 50, 60 feet up. But from all my analysis, looking at other people's YouTube videos, especially BWCAW Wild, this is the site I wanted because of the proliferation of trees. So I could make sure I could find a spot to put up the Una. But what a beautiful site. All right. Time for my Boundary Water Egg Extraordinaire. What a beautiful campsite. What a beautiful tarp tent, lean-to, or whatever you want to call it. All right, let's grab some breakfast. Boy. Hopefully this is the last meal under this little tree tarp. Not tree tarp, what am I thinking? This little tarp tent. Yum. Flowers are just starting to come up. This is the earliest I've ever been in the Boundary Waters. June 10th, came in June 9th. Well, I'm back in the woods. The wind kicked up again and it's cool and it's breezy, but not so much back here. So I thought I'd do a little light reading. Hopefully it'll help. It was bought at the huge garage sale on Park Point for $3. Nice looking fish. It's getting lighter. They say it's supposed to get sunny. I chopped some more wood in anticipation of a fire tonight. Wouldn't that be nice? This is one of the first trips I've ever been windbound. It gets calm. I go down, look at the boat, and next thing I know, I'm running back to get underneath the little tarp tent or windbreak. They say it's supposed to calm down, and tomorrow's supposed to be sunny. So that's when we're going to hit the portage. Beautiful here. First trip of the year. Well, it's trying. The sun is trying to come out. but there's a still hellacious wind off the lake. It gets calm, and all of a sudden, wham! So for lunch, I'm going to do a fried Spam single, a couple tortilla shells. I've got some Arby sauce in there, and some horsey sauce. Yum, yum. And then, since I'm a little chilled, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. The other interesting thing is I've seen no wildlife. I saw one toad. I heard a loon call once, but there's like no campsite scavengers. Mice, squirrels, chipmunks. Well, things are looking hopeful. It's getting a little more, less dark outside. But I've been walking around the campsite, just putzing around, looking for signs of wildlife. And I keep hearing this strange sound. And I think I figured out what it is. So if you listen, you can actually hear the borers chewing on the wood. That's what all this trailings are from. Wow. And I did find this. Someone's crawled in there or sat here and were eating pine cones and throwing out the remains of their eating. Now there's a spider web across the whole hole, so I doubt anything's in there now, but that's about the only signs of life I found in this campsite. Other than the constant chewing of the borers. That comes through. It sounds like grrrr. Overall, the campsite's really clean. I found one string in a piece of tree that I took down. At first I thought that sound was frogs, but no. Spam. The gelatinous glob of goodness. My horsey sauce and my Arby sauce. Yeah, baby. Chow time. So again, it's Tuesday the 10th, and this is the way it's been since, gosh, I got here about noon yesterday on the 9th. And starting at about 2 o'clock, the breeze from the southwest kicked up. And sometimes it was all white-cappy and right down into the campsite, which I don't mind when I'm in the tent. Or under the tarp, but it's actually a pretty chilly breeze. It'll be calm, then all of a sudden it'll kick up, have a couple gusts, and my map case will just sit there and flap and fly about the inside under the tarp. Overall, being windbound for a day makes for a very relaxing day. This is actually the first time in all my boundary water trips I've been windbound. I don't mind going out in a stiff breeze when I'm loaded, because I've got some buoyancy and some stability. But when you're in a, what, 28, 29 pound canoe with just yourself in there, and I'm about 210, and maybe a small day pack, you just get blown all over the water. Quarter to 6. Just freshened up? Yeah, freshened up. Yes, 200 feet away from the body of water. But now there's not a breath of air. I stripped off 2 layers. Let me get it. Stripped off 2 layers. Put my baseball cap back on because I had my sleeping hat on because I was so cold all day. And I'm hoping this is the way it's going to be. Quarter to 6. I'll probably wet a line, just throw it from shore, see what happens. But this is what I like. Oh, and we got rain. All right. Gotta bring my clothes in. Unbelievable. All set for a fire. Instead, we're back under the tarp. Here it is. Yeah. 5 to 6. Sun's out. We got a little rain. I think it's just a quick squall. But other than that, it's such a nice feeling not to have to deal with wind. This is the first time it's been still, gosh, since about, what, 6 o'clock now? Since maybe 2 or 3 o'clock yesterday. Let's hope it's the way things are from here on out. All right, I'm going to try throwing a line or 2 in. Now, I carry a pack rod, a fishing rod, 4 sections, but when I'm in the boat, I like to keep it strapped inside the boat. But I've been noticing over the last few years I'm getting some wear spots. So I discovered that Bass Pro Shops have this nylon thing that you put over it, and it goes down and it covers your last guide. And they also have a little reel cover. That's just Velcroed on. Velcro and neoprene. Just pops off. Then this just pops off. You know, I should call this a fishing rod condom. There. And these 2 pieces cost, between the 2 of them, like 12 or 13 bucks. And they fold up to about size of a small orange. Nice. I think we're getting a wind shift. For the last 12, 16 hours, it's been coming directly from the southwest. Now it's starting to move over and come from the northeast. And if that's the case, I'm on the east side of this lake, which means it's going to be calm all the way down to where I want to go tomorrow. So I want to go right down there. All right, time to get ready for dinner. Alrighty. Hey, here's my new toy. Here's my new toy. This is from Firemaple. I believe it's like 6 ounces. I used to love to bring my little GSI micro table, but it's just too big. It doesn't pack down very big. And I saw this, and it's pretty unique. What it does is you basically put the neck of your fuel canister through, then attach your stove, and there's enough room for your windscreen to slide on. It is also height adjustable. You can adjust the legs more upright, and you can fit the mid-size can. This is the small one, the mid-size and the great big large one. Won't fit the large one. But I wanted to use it a few times before I really talk about it. And when I get back to Duluth, I'll do more of an in-depth analysis of it. But it's pretty cool. It collapses down, folds up, weighs next to nothing. Will I take it backpacking? No. Because when I backpack, I cook with alcohol, and I use my sports and bean table for that. Put this little stove right on top of it. So cool little toy. So far I'm impressed. Tonight's dinner. This is one of my staples. Got a couple tortillas. And you have Camp Jow singles, burritos, turkey, a chihuly sauce. Then what I add to it, just for a little extra calories, is some pulled pork. And when I get these things, I always write the date on them. So when I plug them out of my food storage, I know the date. And then a Kit Kat for dessert. Wow, Kit Kat. On my new little table. Pretty slick. Off to make dinner. Don't know if I've mentioned this before, but this trip has been almost 100% completely mosquito-free. June 10th, no mosquitoes, northern Minnesota. That's an oddity. So I just heat that up, and I'm going to let it, I'll turn off the stove and just let it cook for a while, then flash it again, and put it on the tortilla and chow down. First meal outside from underneath the tarp. My burrito. Looks like I'll probably get 3 out of this batch. Camp chow. And it's just very, very nice out right now. So it was worth all of the frustration I had today. Here's one of these crazy insects again. See, you can hear it. That's really loud. Gosh darn it. Very hazy out tonight. I'm just wondering if that's from the Canadian fires. Pretty much all packed up. maybe an hour with the fire, have my hibiscus tea, and off to bed. What a glorious evening. Oh, I can't say glorious. One of the guys I go up yearly with, he says guys can't say glorious. So on that whole trip, I say glorious in almost every video just to piss him off. How about fabulous? Nighttime approach. Six o'clock in the morning, not much mist. Had a brief sprinkle come through last night, but the sky looks pretty good, pretty promising. Let's go boil some water. June 11th, 2025, about 7:30 in the morning. I don't know if this has come out on camera, but there's a haze. I'm assuming it's from the Canadian wildfires. But today's supposed to be a spectacular day, so I'm looking forward to getting out in the boat and heading that way. Walking a portage, and I'm hoping too tonight to go back around this point here. It's supposed to be some interesting things. But we'll find out. Slept really well. Sprinkle did come through last night. Don't know what time it was, but it was dark 30. So the plan is, the weather looks good, no more rain. And since I'm bugging out tomorrow sometime, I'm hoping that today the tarp will dry and then I can pack that up. It's one less thing to do tomorrow morning. But overall, really like this campsite. Other than the wind. But c'est la vie. Second cup of coffee, and let's go make some eggs. The wind's picked up a little bit, but I still got to go out and do my little jog and journey today. You know, I'm walking through the campsite and I'm thinking, how would I rate this? I would rate it about a 3.5 star. It would be a 4-star if the tent pads were a little bit nicer. I think this campsite's much better suited for hammock campers, because every place that there's a tent pad, it's just loaded with roots. I mean, this is really nice back in here, but there's nothing flat. There's nothing void of roots. I mean, this is probably the nicest pad here, but it's got some serious lumps. Overall, the campsite was clean, which I've always appreciate. Picked up a few scraps of paper here and there, and a line still attached to a tree. Doing my civic duties, but just like to leave it a little bit better than where I found it. Well, it's go time, but I think it's actually windier than it was yesterday. I'm going to give it about another hour or so it happens, make up my mind. But I know a trick I've done before. If you paddle really close to the shore, it's not that windy. But I've got to get to a point over there where it narrows. It should be much more calm, but it's just getting across this in a 29-pound boat with hardly any gear in Well, I'm gonna go for it. There seems to be a lull. I did see a couple boats come out of the portage and just stick close to shore and go up around the bend, and then you're pretty much home free. So the plan is to stick close to shore. I've got the kayak paddle for extra power in the wind, and if I don't feel comfortable, I can always turn around and come back. Let's go. Well, there were some white knuckle moments, by all means. I just hugged the shore and watched for boulders. Now I'm just floating down to the beginning of the portage. More to come. This portage has been on my bucket list, especially since I think 2 or 3 years ago they came through and they rebuilt part of it. As I get there, I'll tell you, there's also supposed to be a spectacular falls. And again, this is between, a lot of you people from the Boundary Waters will know what portage this is, but I have a pretty far reach. So, between Duncan Lake and Rose Lake. Here we go. How's that for a bird's eye view? Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Well, here's the stairway, a part of it. I think there's 2 parts of this. These are all hand cut, no power tools. Again, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. But they just fit right in with nature so well. They replaced a bunch of wooden ones. Very popular spot. Another view. Woo, doggy! And that's Rose Lake. So between Duncan Lake and Rose Lake, there's obviously quite a big elevation change. The old cedars, I mean, my gosh. Wow. More of the hand-cut stairs. This is really steep, so I'm not going to film this. Maybe when I get down the bottom I'll shoot it up. But what an outstandingly beautiful job. I think it took them all summer. Just flipping amazing. Don't know if I want to carry a big pack up and down this, let alone a boat. Goes on and on. I thought I read someplace That's my water bottle. That there are 60 steps. But I know the camera's not going to show you the elevation change, but it's huge. Huge, I tell you. Also sounds like, yep, there's more falls running just over here. Let's go down to the lake. And this is the landing into Rose Lake. And I believe there's a campsite like right there. But the shore over here is Canada. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Well, I'm gonna drink some water, have a little snack before I make my migration back up those stairs. There's something magical about walking and portaging next to a waterfall, or waterfalls, should I say, plural. It's just beautiful. Well, after about a liter of water and some almonds and peanut M&Ms, it's time to go up. It's time to go up. All right. Let me do my billy goating. Yet another waterfall, just by the bottom. Upwards. I think 60 stairs for part one. But man, this is just beautiful. And the risers on the steps are, you know, pretty close. I would say probably 8 inches, some 9. Right, let's grunt.
This is my day off.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm retired. So I summer in Duluth and winter in Phoenix.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Duluth is beautiful.
Oh, it is. That never gets old. All right, phase 2 of the custom stairs. Not as many. By the way, this is called the Stairway portage. Can you guess why? Amazing. Just flipping amazing. Alrighty. The stairway to heaven. Yeah. After all that climbing and the waterfalls, it flattens out and goes back to Duncan. So, my legs and quads have got a good workout. Now it's for part 2 of the workout for my arms battling the wind. But this is why I pushed myself to come down here. It wasn't really that bad. The only thing I don't like is when they get a bunch of rollers. So I stayed close to shore, just kind of hugged the shore and watched for boulders and submerged trees. Because what you don't want is being pushed into that stuff with waves. That'll capsize you in a heartbeat. All right, let's go get the boat back on the water. I'm back. That was the toughest solo paddle I've ever done. Whew. Out there in the middle, there's these large rollers. So what I did is I basically hugged the shore all along as I could, but a lot of times I had to switch directions and kind of go backwards to go forwards to stay at a proper angle against the wind and waves. I did it. My legs had a good workout, and so do my arms. All right, let's go unload the canoe and unwind. If I had a champagne, I'd have a champagne, but I don't have a champagne. Maybe I'll have a grape drink. Yeehaw. Wow. Think it's windy in camp? Look at that baby go. Maybe catch a land shark. Ha, I don't know. Well, after that extravaganza, even though on Rose Lake, while looking in the horizon at Canada, I had some almonds and some peanut M&Ms, I came back here and I'm a bit peckish. I'm hungry. So one of my typical lunches, tortilla, Miracle Whip, get this from Super One Duluth, Sam's Club little individual relish packets, my new favorite, ginger sesame chunk light tuna, and my new find are these ultralight bamboo spoons. So I put the ingredients in here, mix this up, spread it on here, lick the spoon, put it back in the garbage bag. Or maybe it's a no-no, but I would have no problem with burning that at night. It's wood. It's wood. All right, eat. Man alive, I have never seen it this windy, just straight winds. Ever since I got back, it's picked up. I am so grateful that I went and did the trip up to the Stairway portage and made it back, and that was a battle indeed. But I'm not going to go out there. It's just way too windy. But it's been like this for the last 2 hours. I'm going to take that down. Probably do it. Hopefully the wind's calm. I can have a fire tonight. I'll do it then. Because it's dry. I like to pack things away when they're dry. That means I don't have to go back to Duluth and unpack everything and hang it. Holy buckets. Even with the wind, it's 68 degrees. So it's nice and warm. But when you get those gusts, it just, man, I've got my full sleeping headgear on and balaclava. I should have brought my neck gaiter and didn't think about it. So I'm trying to figure out what to call this trip. The Winds of Duncan. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let me go get the food bag. It's getting about that time. But that's been a godsend. That was a godsend. Perfect for one person in there. All right, work to do. Of course, a gust would come. A group of 2 canoes just stopped by. 3 in one, 2 in the other. It's windier than hell out there. They're loaded to the gills and no life jackets. That's concerning. But I'm gonna attempt to make dinner out here. I just don't want my last night having to endure. I want to endure that view, but I don't want to be under the tarp. So I'm making one of my favorites. And here's a little packet. This is a chicken pad thai. Even got a little bit of true lime. It's peanut butter, it's chicken, it's dehydrated mushrooms, Thai noodles, a special sauce with, what is it, coconut milk powder and ginger, peanuts, soy sauce, packet of peanut butter, gotta have peanut butter, and a little dragon sauce. So I'm not going to let you endure, because this is a long meal to make. If you want to see it being made, on my video last fall, I think it was September, I went to Snipe. I think it's called a Snipe Lake Loop. And I go through the whole process there. But this is just fabulous. Just fabulous. I'm hungry. And please die down, wind. I'd still like to have my final fire. All right, on to cook. There's the pad thai. Most of the time I like to plate it, but on the titanium plate, and I'll sprinkle the true lime on last, it's just going to get too cold, so I'm going to eat it out of the pot in the cozy. Just calm down slightly. Oh well. Oh. Can you say stuffed? Got things pretty well packed up. Dishes are done. A little pre-packing like I always do. It is, what time is it? 7:37. Usually I like to have a fire starting about 8, in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. But with this wind and how dry it is, with all the dead trees and brush around here, I don't think it's going to happen unless we have a repeat of night like last night, where it was absolutely not a breath of air. So what that means is I was thinking about taking this down, but I might have my tea under this because I'm just getting sick of the wind. We'll see. Only time will tell. Overall, good trip. The biggest thing about camping is you got to figure out how to problem solve. And that's what I like about it. It's the right way to wrap up this trip, because it's the way the whole trip has been. Now, I moved everything into the little lean-to, and all of a sudden it went still. So I came out here and I brought a watch, and it stayed still for about 7 minutes, and all of a sudden the big winds are back. And again, that's the way this whole trip has been. It keeps you on your toes. But beautiful campsite, as I mentioned prior, more suited for hammockers than tenters. And I did double check, and it's site 662 on Duncan Lake, the one closest to the portage between Bearskin and Duncan Lake. It's nice, supposed to be a cool night. So I aired everything out, fluffed everything up, and I sleep so good in that thing. All right. Very fun trip. Very strenuous. About 8:30, final night. Got a little calm, a little calm. Then all of a sudden, whoosh. It looks like a lot of the haze has been blown away. This is the clearest it's been. It's still not 100% clear. Still got a haze to it. So on that note, I'm going to bid you adieu. No fire tonight. Final look at camp. And the long shadow. The long shadow. off and see you tomorrow. Would you look at this? About 9:15, and the wind has finally gone away. Fire time. What a phenomenal way to end a very finicky trip, weather-wise. It's going to be so weird to go and look at all these different pieces where oh, it's really nice out. Oh, wait, I'm underneath the tarp. Oh, it's really nice out. Wait, the wind's blowing. I'm freezing. It's raining. Oh, wait, it's really nice out. Anyway, the whole mission of this trip was to do two things, is to go in this little bay area that I never made it to. Simply because, you know, the first full day was windbound. And today I pushed it. But I got to see the Stairway portage in Rose Lake and Rose Falls. That was my bucket list for this trip. Now, let's burn a little bit of lumber. Admire the view. It's supposed to get chilly tonight. Not a cloud in the sky. That usually means cold. Look at this old growth. And no wind for a fire. So with that, till tomorrow morning. Thursday, June 12th, shortly after 6. And what a gorgeous day. Not a cloud in the sky, no breeze. Minimal haze this morning. Notice I said breeze, not wind. I don't like saying wind because we have had wind. All right, get some coffee and start packing up. The interesting thing is there's no dew. Got down, looks like 41 degrees. So it's coffee time. You know what? I just don't feel that hungry. And I did bring typical last morning oatmeal. I think I'm going to skip that and just have tortilla, some peanut butter. Yeah. All right. Just after 9 o'clock. I got it easy out. So I'm kind of taking my time. Had my breakfast. Cleaned everything up. And that's it in a nutshell. In 2 nutshells. What a glorious day. Alright, let's get on the water. There she is, site 662 on Duncan Lake. The wind tunnel. Off to the portage. Looks like we got a couple canoers way off in the distance coming. Gotta hustle. Pack 1 and 1 paddle brought over. All right. Pretty easy portage. A gentle up and down. Hey, guess where you are? This is it. All right. Off to get the boat. Well, here is where the Caribou Rock Trail crosses the portage. A little bit of a jog because of some downed wood. But evidently 2 nights ago, a gentleman who was diabetic was hiking it and had some medical issues. And they had to bring in SARS, search and rescue teams, bring him out. I found that out yesterday when I did the hike to the Stairway portage. People were talking about it. Onto the boat. This is a rarity here in the Boundary Waters to have the portage so clear of roots and rocks. Makes for very nice Bach in the woods. Yeah, baby. There's the end of the portage between Duncan Lake and Bearskin, or as some people call this, West Bearskin Lake, because there is an East Bearskin. At the entry point 60. You know, I've been meaning to mention it. I am just amazed the clarity of these lakes between West Bearskin and Duncan. It's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Water's pretty tasty too. All right, so then just gotta hoof it up there and load up. And then maybe stop at Trail Center, pick up some more meals, and grab a burger and a beer. Yeah. Trail Center. Gonna go in for a burger and a beer, and this is where Camp Chow comes from. Let me show you the factory. In this little building is where they make the food. Isn't that amazing? You know, interestingly, at one point in time, back in my retail days, I asked them, I said, you guys ever want to get into REI and Shells and other places? And they said, nope, we just like being really, really small, boutique, and basically serving the ones that know in the Boundary Waters canoe area. So here is Trail Center. Let's go in and grab something to eat and grab a brewski. Here's all the flavors. Yep, after I eat, I'm going shopping. Look at this. That's all the singles. That's what I like the best. Ah, there it is. And then we go shopping. Pretty good looking burger. Ooh. Well, that's a wrap for this trip. Got my bag of replen meals so I can go out and restock my pantry. And there's some surprises coming this summer. I'm gonna try a few other things. So, okay. Good burger. Good trip. Hate the wind. We dealt with it. Now it's time to head back to Duluth and go through the gear, clean, and prepare for the next trip. Catch you on the flip-flop. RW signing off. That never gets old.